He come back, started back in the church house, and this Perkins boy that he killed first halted him at the doorsteps. Now that was what my uncle said, and I ain't going to tell you too much of these hearsays. I'm just going to tell you what I seen. But anyhow, he said that he tried to get this Perkins guy to go on, and he wouldn't do it. And he told the Wisby that done the killing, says, "I hear you've been carrying your gun for us." And he said, "Yes, I have." And he said, Perkins told him, says, "Well, you got our gun, we got our gun, and you got yours. Why don't we just have it?" And he didn't even get out of his mouth till Wisby shot him. Shot him twice in the chest, and he turned to run down side of the church, and he shot him in the back, and the bullet come out right the fork of his chest. The reason I say how he shot him, because after it was all over, they laid Perkins out in front of the church, and I don't remember if he had him on a quilt or what, but they laid him out there, and they opened his shirt, and I seen the bullet holes. And so anyhow, Perkins run down side of the church about halfway and fell, and then Wisby turned on Johnson and went to shooting him, and he come, and I was sitting down in the back. They had some seats back there. It was just had a board on some blocks or no back. I was down between them, and I raised my head up and looked at the door, and Johnson come up the doorsteps, bent over, and Wisby shot him as he's coming up the steps. He come on up about middle ways to church and fell, and Wisby was right behind him, and when he fell, he just walked up and gave him another shot. And the preacher had just got up to preach, and when about the time the second gun fired, well, the preacher says, "Let's pray." And there wasn't much praying went on. There was plenty of screaming and commotion. And so that was the end of it.
And you,
excuse me.
No, sir.
In the meantime, there was one of my first cousin's boys, just a little lad of a boy. There was a stray bullet hit him just above the ear and just went under the skin and right back out. And they rushed him to the hospital, and they thought he was going to die, but he made it. And that was the only one that got shot, other than the two guys.
And you said that young man was your cousin?
My first cousin's son.
Okay. You've already talked some about folks that lived around you, the Basses and the Calhouns. Do you remember anything about some selfs that lived over there close to Columbus, James?
I remember some selves, but Henry Self?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
What, can you tell us all you should remember about Henry?
He married Columbus James. You ever hear anything about him?
Yes, sir.
His sister. They lived at Port Arthur, Beaumont. He worked down there. And they bought a place up there on Drake's Creek. They never did live there, as I remember, but he owned the place, and he got a guy to move on the place, take care of it. He done a little farming and all, and that's about the extent that I know of him.
Do you remember anybody else in your mind's eye? If you said that the Calhouns lived to the north of you, was your closest neighbor. Was there a Fred Weeks that lived anywhere near you?
Let's see. Yes. He lived right almost next to us for a long time. Yeah, I believe, that was Fred Weeks.
Now you told us about farming in the summer and swimming hole, but what did y'all do in the winter when it was cold and you couldn't go swimming every day?
Well, there wasn't much going on then. Stayed by the farm most of the time.
Did y'all do any hunting?
No, I never was a hunter. My brother was, he was a big hunter in our family, but I never was much of a hunter. No, we was talking about neighbors a while ago. We live close to, not all that close, but not real close neighbors, but what I'd say 2 or 3 miles from Skipper's grandpa and dad and grandma and his daddy. They wasn't too far from us. No, we didn't have much going on in the winter time.
Did y'all, how often did y'all go, let me back up. Did y'all make your own clothes? Did your mama sew?
No, my mother never did so much. No, we'd buy a pair of overalls or two when the cotton was sold.
How often did y'all go to town?
Oh, we went almost every Saturday. After my daddy got the school bus, well, he'd pick up all of the guys in the community and they'd go to town on the bus to get their supplies. And of course, I didn't go every Saturday, but I could have.
Now, I've been trying to move kind of chronologically through, and we're about up to 1941 time period. Can you tell us about the process of being displaced by the government and just how it made you feel? And
well, that was a bad time. Everything going on and happening, you know, and they come around and give you a price for your place, and it didn't matter whether you took it or left it, you left. Yeah. Then it was the process of finding where you was going to. Of course, everybody tried to salvage everything they could, you know. And I know we took down all of the fence around our place, and my brother had a log truck then, and me and my mother, she went with me, and I had to load them posts, and we come to Rose Pine and unload them posts. When I would turn around to leave, I run over a little old stump and busted the radiator. Then had to get somebody to take us home and get that fixed. And then before my daddy built down there, fire got out and burnt all them posts up. So we didn't gain anything but moving the post.
where did he move? Where did y'all move to after y'all were displaced?
With Rose Pine. Just a quarter of a mile above Rose Pine and a quarter off of the highway on the west.
How old were you in 1941 during the displacement?
Let's see. 24.
How'd you feel about the government at that point in time?
Well, I didn't think anything about it because we was a young guy and didn't make no difference to me. Just whatever happened, I took it and went on, didn't think anything about it. Went on and was drafted in January of '42 on my birthday, was sworn in on my birthday. Went all through basic and amphibious training and never thought anything about it. Didn't worry about getting scared till we made the amphibious landing in North Africa, and so we was waiting for our wave to get ready to go out, and they'd done bringing the wounded back from the beach to ship, and then I woke up.